What's up, YouTubers? Take a look at these floors. This is just a pre-evaluation walkthrough. There's some scuffs and some marks. Doesn't quite look like it's deep enough to where it's penetrated into the wood. We'll find out. What we're going to do today is a deep clean. Multiple steps. We use a vacuum, pre-vacuum. We use a dry dust mop. We use a special scouring pad, special solution, and we're going to use the polar pads. These are special pads with microfiber cloth on it, you can see, and then there's also a sponge type material which draws up a lot of the moisture. And upstairs we're using the smaller tool today because it's just a small hallway and then the staircase. So what you're seeing here is a Neptune, 13-inch Neptune pad from encapstore.com. If you visit encapstore.com and buy anything, make sure you click that you heard it from Washington Pro Carpet Cleaning. That'll give us a little credit to help with the products that I buy. And that hog's hair is scrubbing it up. And then we're going to pick up the slurry with the polar pad. That's also available. I do like the bigger one because I can get right up against the wall board. That's a 15-inch polar pad. And there'll be a couple steps you probably won't see on the stairs that we do afterwards, where we come back through. I'll use a flat mop and then we use a white polishing pad. You'll see that downstairs on the larger floor. We did have some clients that were out on the patio. The good thing about this process, there's no polish being applied to the floors when they're finished. It's an actual buff shine, which means the machine and the white polishing pad buffs out all the imperfections after it's cleaned, and it also creates a buff shine on the floor. And you can tell these ones are already shining pretty good, but boy, they'll look even better when I'm done. And downstairs, like I said, we'll be doing a bigger machine, which is called a swirly. I believe it's a 15-inch pad driver that I've got on there. It has a 2.5-gallon tank. That's also available at encapstore.com. Pretty much 99% of everything we use is purchased at Encap Store. We'll get down to the bottom here. I'll show you a couple of the other items that we use on this job. All right, so you can see we got more polar pads. We got the white 3M polishing pad. That's a fiber pad. We got some flat mop pads. We got a red pad for the scouring down here, the flat mop. And I will note that, like I said, those polar pads, man, if you're doing carpets with the low moisture, you use those polar pads, you will have a dry carpet when you're done. We had to switch in the middle of the job over to the Ironman pad because the polar pad downstairs was just absorbing all the moisture, and you can only use a small amount of moisture when you're doing wood floors. You don't want to over wet, and the pad was just sucking it all up too fast and just drying the floor too quickly and putting a little resistance on the pad itself. So we decided to switch over. You'll see that when we get down there. Also, the gray polar pads, they do make white polar pads if you're someone that likes to see the dirt afterwards. The gray polar pads, gosh, I wished for these. I think it was been a couple years, and kept talking to the owner of Encap Store until he finally had these developed. And it's just an aesthetic thing. In some homes, you know, you go into $1 million home, $2 million home, you really don't want to have dirty pads laying around or showing. It just creates or invites kind of a toxic environment where people think you're spinning the dirt around, and you're not. With a microfiber pad, those little ventricles, they're like veins. They absorb and suck the the solution and the encapsulated soils into that special sponge in the middle. And there you go. Wow, looking fantastic. That's the final process on the stairs there. We skipped showing you a few steps. And we had already cleaned in here, and we're at the buff shine step now, which is what I was talking to you about, this white buffing pad. And once the floor is clean and you flat mop it and it's completely dry, you want the pad to go over the wood dry. And it'll move relatively easy with your 175. And what's happening is that pad is actually heating up any previous polyurethane or whatever the previous coating was. It kind of polishes it, kind of like when you polish your car. What it does is it kind of reactivates or repenetrates the protection that's on there and gives it a gloss. There's the Ironman pad we used after we scrubbed it with the red pad. There's the red pad underneath. I'll show you the contrast here on the Ironman pad. You can see the dirt there. This is a cotton pad versus a Polar Pad's microfiber. So a little bit different type of pad. The microfiber is going to pull it into the center. Your Ironman is going to capture it just on the surface of the pad. So you need to rotate those pads frequently. Here we are coming down the hallway. We did a dining room, living room, and a bathroom, hallway, stairs, in the upper level hallway area or landing. Looks fantastic. It's always hard to tell with the iPhone. I'm using the iPhone for the camera. In person, it is just absolutely stunning. And of course, my client was outside on the porch, and him and his wife kept peeking in. They were very happy. Left us a good review. We did have to move some furniture around, but because you're at a completely dry process, look how beautiful that looks. When you're done, you can pick the furniture up and move it around. And it's been buff shined, so you're not going to get any footprints. There's no residue, no smudges. Just really, really clean, shiny looking floors. It's not going to produce a gloss, whatever was on there previously. If you have a satin finish or a matte finish or a gloss finish, that's basically what it's going to bring out. There you go. So we're going to be packing up and moving on to the next job. Very simple process. Vacuum, dry dust mop, get along the edges, and then spray your solution 4 foot by 4 foot sections at a time with the trigger sprayer. Hit it with a red scouring pad, or if you're doing stairs, you want to use the Neptune pad. And then suck it up with an absorbing pad, and then use the white polishing pad once it's fully dry and buff it out. Oh yeah, looking good. That's a 5-star review. We appreciate you watching our episodes, and we'll see you all in the next one.